I've seen a lot of people grab the cheapest laser layout tools they can find, only to end up frustrated when the beam drifts, the battery dies after a single job, or the device can't handle the kind of rough-and-tumble sites they work on. That regret curve is real, and it makes you pause before you click Add to Cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The question I kept asking myself was whether the Hilti PMP 45 5-point measuring tool actually bridges that gap between bargain bin disappointment and a solid, worksite-ready solution. When I first pulled the Hilti out of the box, the first thing I noticed was the 5-point laser pattern it throws out. That's not just a gimmick, it's the kind of three-dimensional reference you need when you're hanging a row of conduit, marking out a false ceiling grid, or laying out a series of brackets for a heavy-duty rack system. In a typical day on a commercial renovation floor, I'd set up a base station, walk a short distance, and instantly have a clear visual of two vertical lines, a horizontal line and two diagonal points that stay true to the original plane. That saves you from having to pull out a separate level, a tape measure and then align laser 3 tools that each have their own quirks. For me, the PMP 45 became the one-to-old OSidle that actually cut down the number of trips back to the tool bag. The range claim of up to 100 feet, 30 meters, is where the tool starts to show its practical limits. In a sprawling warehouse you're trying to line up a series of overhead lights, you'll get a solid, bright point at the far end, but you'll also notice a slight dimming and a tiny wobble that becomes noticeable if you're trying to align something with sub-millimeter precision. In most construction and HVAC jobs, you rarely need tighter tolerances than a few millimeters, so the drop-off isn't a deal-breaker, but it's something to keep in mind if you're a millwork shop that relies on laser accuracy for cabinet face frame placement. One of the features that set this Hilti apart from many low-cost competitors is the impact protection system. The housing is reinforced to survive the kind of drops you inevitably make when you're moving around a congested job site. I dropped it from about waist height onto a concrete slab while I was trying to reposition it on a steel beam, and the laser stayed calibrated. The cheaper units I've tried in the past would lose alignment after a single impact, forcing a costly recalibration or outright replacement. That durability translates directly into less downtime and fewer hidden costs. Vertical alignment is another hidden advantage. The PMP 45 has a built-in pendulum that self-levels the beam within a few seconds, even if the tripod you're using isn't perfectly plumb. I tested it on a sloped roof truss where a traditional line laser would have taken several minutes to level manually. The Hilti snapped into a true vertical in under 10 seconds, letting me focus on the actual layout rather than fiddling with a bubble level. It's a small time saver, but on a job that lasts weeks, those seconds add up. Battery life, however, is where the tool shows a trade-off. The spec sheet mentions a low battery indicator, and it's true the unit runs for about 3 to 4 hours of continuous use before the warning flashes. In a scenario where you have a whole day of layout tasks and you're running the laser non-stop, you'll need to either swap out the battery pack or keep a charger handy. That's a bit more logistical planning than you'd have with a laser that boasts an 8-hour runtime, but the battery is removable and the pack itself isn't prohibitively expensive. If you're the type of contractor who runs one-off layout jobs and can charge the laser overnight, this isn't a major pain point. If you're a site superintendent managing multiple simultaneous layouts, you might want a spare pack. Who should consider this tool? If you're a tradesperson who routinely works on commercial or industrial projects, electricians, HVAC installers, metal fabricators, or general contractors who need a reliable 3D reference point across a moderate distance, the PMP 45 gives you the confidence to set up once and walk away while the laser holds its shape. It also appeals to small shop owners who want a professional-grade laser without stepping into the price tier of full-blown rotary laser systems. The impact protection and quick self-leveling make it especially useful when you're moving between rough surfaces and need a tool that can take a hit without losing accuracy. On the flip side, if you're a DIY homeowner who just wants a simple line laser for hanging a few pictures or a single piece of trim, you're probably overpaying for capabilities you'll never tap. The 5-point pattern could actually be overkill in a tight living room, and the low battery warning could become an annoyance when you're only planning a half hour of use. In that case, a basic line laser in the $30–50 range would handle.